Hey there, welcome to the House Music Connection podcast. I'm your host, Tony Fuel. Each week, I have a conversation with a different artist where we discuss personal stories, challenges, successes, production process, and more. Ultimately, the goal is for all of us to feel a greater sense of connection to the house music community and to one another. So let's get right into the conversation. Becka Ward, welcome to the podcast, House Music Connection. How are you?
I'm really good. Thank you. Thank you for having me, Tony.
Absolutely. So for listeners, why don't you go and introduce yourself a little bit?
Okay, so my name is Becka. My artist name is Becka. My actual name is Becka Ward.
Yeah.
But I think Becka has been it's been forever, since I was little. So that's what I generally use. And then so I'm a house music vocalist. Not just house, but soulful house. I've done drum and bass. I've done a little bit of techno. I've been in jazz bands. I've been in sort of blues bands. I've done quite a lot vocally and different types of genres. But house music is something that I've been doing for now the past 5 years as a recording artist. But I've actually been singing house music for many, 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 many years. And was introduced to house music by my big brother, Nathan Ward, who is a decade older than me. So I basically heard music from the very, very early 90s, from the very roots and of house music when it was just beginning, when it really hit the UK, when the parties were going off. But I was way too young to get involved at that point. Yeah.
Mm-hmm. So have you always wanted to become a singer?
Yes. Well, I've been singing since I was a baby, actually. I actually wrote my first song when I was 18 months old.
Wow. That's awesome.
Yeah, it's funny. It was actually about my brother, Nathan. I can still remember all the lyrics and everything, but it was recorded by my dad. And that was the start of it, really, of singing. But when I was 6 or 7, I decided that I wanted to go dancing. And that's where I started to really look at singing as a solo, solo artist. Did lots of song and dances, so to speak, in festivals and competitions, things like that, growing up. Cool. So it really came from, dancing and singing were kind of massive, huge part of my life for many, many years from being little.
That's awesome. So you talked about being too young to go to clubs in the 90s. Now, when did you first start, experiencing house music or dance music in a club environment or a lounge environment? What was that transition like, and how did you? I don't know. Did you learn more about the music just by experiencing it in a different environment?
Well, because we were talking about Nathan, actually. Well, I was talking about Nathan, but he actually ran a record distribution company, an import and export distribution company, and he had that for 20 years. So when I was like 11, 12 years old, he would sometimes bring me over to Leeds, because at that point I was living in a little town called Scunthorpe with my family, and he had the business. It's about an hour away from where I lived, but he would bring me to the warehouse, which was a huge warehouse, and it just rows and rows and rows and rows of pure vinyl of different types of records and music genres, from techno to house music. There was stuff from Detroit, from Chicago. There were labels that obviously, like King Street Sounds, Henry Street. There were Victor Simonelli's first labels, just crazy. So he would actually just let me pick and choose which records that I wanted to listen to. And there was a deck there that I could just pop on and have a listen. And that's where I heard Kathy Brown and CC Peniston, and some really just mind-blowing house music that just stuck with me. And it was that point then that I wanted to be a house music vocalist. I was determined at that point that if I was going to make music, I wanted to make music that was not commercial, for one, because the underground, I feel and still feel and felt then, gives you a platform to express real life situations in a real way that isn't saturated by anything else but just pure pure artistic sort of creativity, really.
Right.
And that's where I got into it. But I've been listening to house music, as I say, since I was really, really young. So, but the likes of Jazz and Nova, I was really into. I loved a bit of hip hop and R&B and things, but I generally kind of stayed to the underground scene, really. So when I eventually was old enough to go out clubbing, it was like a kid in a sweet shop, actually. It was just mind-blowing, and it felt like a scene that I knew that I wanted to remain on. I met loads of interesting people, lots of like-minded people that were into the same music as me, and that really, you then become part of the community. So I think it was my early 20s that I started was singing. I did a couple of songs with Dave Beer. For Dave Beer, it was, do you know Back to Basics? Have you heard of that club before? Yeah. So I managed to get a slot where I was singing at his club for, it was Justin Long from Chicago. So I did a song with him, and that was the start of it, really, where I wanted to be a live performer, not just studio, but live house music vocalist.
Yeah. So do you sing? Do you sing a lot with other DJs to complement their sets and sing live to, I guess, give it another vibe and add a whole new dimension to the vibe?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, I do.
Yeah.
I would love to be doing more live gigs, to be honest. I really would. I think, I've probably managed maybe 2 or 3 a year that are big gigs for me anyway. But I would love to be doing it every other weekend if I could. So it's one of those, it's a tricky thing, but I do love, there's certain DJs that I've worked with over the years. The problem was for me is that I was singing, doing loads of, I did some work for Kenny Dope, but I sang for Kenny Dope Live, Eve Smooth as well, in my early years, but then I had family. So things kind of backtracked a little bit, but for good reason in a way, because it gave me a lot more life experience for lyrics. So I've been obviously an 18-year-old now. So I've got 2 sons, Eddie and Theo. But so I've just been singing for forever, really.
Yeah, no, it's definitely a struggle to balance everything and make time for the things that we love, and when we're, our first priority is making sure that our family's taken care of. So big up to, still finding a way to make it work and make it happen. So that's awesome. So so you said you had a family, and I want to ask you something about that. So I guess, how do you juggle it all? How do you balance it all? Do you have like a process or like some kind of a system that you use for making sure that you still have time for the music?
I think it's easy now that they're older, because I have a lot more free time now. When they're off upstairs on their PlayStations or whatever they're doing, it's a good opportunity for me to sit down, put my headphones on, and listen to a new track that a producer sent me, start to get some ideas. That's really, it's usually evening times when I lock in and start to get creative, because I've got that time. But it was a struggle when they were younger. So that's really mainly why I've been sort of only recording properly for the last 5 years, because I've had the time to do it. So that's, just them getting older.
Yeah. Yeah, that makes sense. That's definitely helpful for sure. So you mentioned writing lyrics and how, your family and other life experiences giving you more material to write with. Do you have a process for writing, or is it just kind of like, I don't know, like I write lyrics too, but I don't always like write lyrics the same way every time. Sometimes like I kind of have like a little idea here and then an idea there, and then like I kind of string them together, and then like I wad out the piece of paper and throw it all away or whatever, and start over. So I don't know. Do you have a writing process?
I do actually. Yeah, I think for me, I just listen to the track over and over and over again, especially if it's one that grabs me. And the more I listen to the melodies, the more I can, the more I can find my own melodies of where I want them to sit, usually to blend with what's going on with the track, because I like my vocals to sound musical as well, and I like them to fit with the melodies and the keys or whatever it is that's going off within the track, so that they can blend together. So for me, it's just listening, and then it'll just pop, and I'll find it'll just come out. That hook will just come from somewhere. I'm not quite sure where it comes from, really. But if I'm really enthused by a track, then there's just, my brain just goes off on one, and we'll just instantly find little things and start to get interesting and get creative. And sometimes it's just the melodies that are coming first, and then it's the lyrics. Or sometimes it's just like, boom, lyrics. So like you say, it really does depend on the track that I'm listening to, for sure.
Yeah. Do you write for all of the songs that you sing on, or do producers ever send you a lyrics that they've written and then ask you to just sing that or come up with a melody for their lyrics?
I mainly like to write all my own lyrics, unless I'm doing a cover. Obviously, I've done a few covers now, but I don't think it's something that I'm not really sure about that one. It's difficult to tap into, isn't it?
So I asked because I don't know, when I first started producing music again, and I started writing lyrics to the music that I was writing, I kind of naively just assumed that producers write their songs and the singer just sings whatever the producer gives them. And so I kind of like felt kind of pressured, like I put some pressure on myself to like, okay, you need to write songs and whatnot. And I kind of like writing too, but I definitely put some pressure on myself. And so I didn't know until after I had released a couple of songs and worked with a few singers that they're like, no, this is actually the first time a producer has ever sent me lyrics to sing that I didn't write. So I don't know. So learning lessons for sure. All right. Let's see. Are you, so you mentioned being only a house music vocalist and maybe dabbling in R&B and other genres. Do you have any desire to do any other genres to, I don't know, I guess, kind of experiment with different things?
I do, actually. I'm working with Josh Jackson again, Jameis. After we did a couple of tracks together with Sensei, he said, look, I'd love to create an EP for you. And he comes from a hip hop background, actually, which was really interesting to me because my studio partner, also Rob Mitchell, who goes under the name of Ghost Life, he's from the hip hop world. He's done a lot of remixes for like Jay Dilla, and has a massive orchestra as well that they call the Abstract Orchestra, which is all like hip hop mainly, 26-piece orchestra, I think it is. And so when James asked me that, I said, what kind of genre is it going to be? we said, well, this is it. I think it should be, let's go for a sort of R&B hip hop kind of vibe, but something that we can also extract maybe a deep house mix out of it or something. And so anyway, he sent me 3 tracks, which were just like, wow, okay. And I'm just in the process of writing that EP now. So I've got 3 tracks, completely not, well, it's got the house music vibes because it has to be an element of that, but it's like a combination really. So it's really interesting. And it's going to be different, and that's kind of like what we're going for. Throwing hand grenades in there just to shake things up a little bit,
Yeah, I love it.
Yeah.
Nice. So you mentioned you're wanting to do more live gigs, with DJs. Have you ever wanted to do like a solo act or be a solo act?
I think because of my experience with dance, because I'm actually a dance teacher and I've been dancing for so long that I did a lot of solos. There was a lot of attention on me, where it was just me singing. And I think, for me, it's not absolutely vital that I'm the centre of the stage. It's not for me now. It really isn't relevant. I think I prefer to go out with a DJ. Really, that for me is perfect because you've got somebody to bounce off, and I do love that. And it's always interesting to know, see how they're going to bring the next track in and where I can go with that as well. And I suppose it's like when Sensei does his live keys, he's just sort of going off. It's the same for a vocalist, really, and I do love that. So, but not as a solo act as such, because I've had a lot of people say, go on X Factor or do this or do that. And it's like, no.
You're like, I'm good.
No thanks.
Yeah. So do you work with producers mostly remotely, I imagine, because, Sensei's in San Francisco, you're in the UK. And I'm sure that it can be really expensive to, for no matter who's paying for it, to get in the same room to work together. So I imagine you do a lot of remote work.
The way that it works, because I've got an absolutely fantastic engineer, my own studio partner. He's the only studio partner that I've been working with for, like I say, like 5 years. But he's also one of my best friends. I've known him 20 plus years. He's the godfather of my child as well.
Oh,
this
nice.
is Rob, who was talking about, who was the Abstract Orchestra. And so, yeah, like, it's, so I just lost my train of thought.
That's okay.
Just remind me what I was saying then.
No, we were talking about working remotely.
Yeah, so I don't have to do that much because I go into the studio with him. We have the track. I've already got the lyrics ready. He helps me fine tune a few things and gives me a few ideas just to sort of get me creative as well, try new things that I maybe didn't think of. So that is, it's gold for me, having somebody like him that I trust implicitly. And I can be experimental with my vocals and my lyrics. And that's where the magic is, really, through the trust of him, because it's hard. It can be, it can be hard to find somebody that you can just spill your heart out to, and you can say whatever you want to, and they're 100% supportive, and will make look at it and say, "But try this, try bringing it down here, or like take it up a notch there." And so for me, it's perfect. So that we just send the stems off to the guys, and then they create the magic at their end.
So I imagine that if somebody's asking you to do vocals, they probably trust that you're just going to do your thing. And I don't know, do you ever have producers that want a lot of edits or changes or anything like that? Or is it pretty much, they're always 100% happy with everything that what you've laid down?
Pretty much, actually.
Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much, because we arrange. We have our own vision. I have a vision of how I want the track to go, and Rob will just help me just structure it. And we give it as an example. So we always send a demo over with the stems, so that the producer can take what they want then, and at least they can see where we were going if we've put like 7-part harmonies there or whatever it is, and they can pick and choose what they want and make their own creation. But we do like to give them an idea of the vision that we're going for, really.
So are you primarily working off of, are you just kind of like writing with, does the producer send you like any like ideas first and then you write off of that? Or do you typically have a song written that you send to the producer who's asking you to work with them?
Yeah, good question. Usually it's a case of, well, it depends actually on the producers, I think, because I've had some producers that will say, this is the title. Can you incorporate the title into the vocal, and just and run with it? Or a producer will say, right, this is a track that's really about heartbreak, and you've got or something really deep, and can you express something that has real emotion and real depth? And then it's a case of me having to really conjure up, what does this track say to me? What is it speaking to me about? How can I, connect with people? What can I do to sort of make them understand that they're not alone, or whatever it is, if they're going through something really terrible, or or something really great that you want to celebrate, depending on what it is. But yeah, every producer's different. I would say. And some, definitely, yeah.
Do you prefer having a backing track, or at least some musical ideas sent to you, or do you just go with the flow, kind of however it's organically?
I do. I prefer to have, at least a decent sort of 3-4 minutes of the track where I can get an idea with some sort of melody, just so that I can then reach for things that maybe I wouldn't have thought about had it just been, like a basic track. And often, once I have done my lyrics, then people, producers will go away and they will build around what I've done as well, and add little elements to complement the vocal.
Yeah.
So, yeah.
That's cool. So do you have any advice for working with producers remotely, or working with producers in general?
Any advice for working with producers? I think it's good to get a good rapport first, get to know who you're working with, look at their back catalogue, look at, basically speak to them and tell them what it is, see what they want, what you want, make sure that you know what you're doing when it comes down to royalties and things like this as well. Before you go ahead with anything, just make yourself very clear about what it is that you expect, and what they expect as well. And don't ring them at like 5 a.m. or anything like that. Look at the time differences, the time zones.
Yeah.
I would say, but yeah.
So talking about royalty splits and things like that, do you work on contracts, or do you think that like emails kind of back and forth is sufficient?
I think contracts are necessary.
Yeah.
I do. I think they give you peace of mind. I know a lot of people aren't really, I know a lot of labels aren't using contracts as much these days. I have heard that, but I think they are necessary. I think to protect the artist and to give the artist peace of mind, and then exactly what's going on. I've just signed 2 tracks in the last week, and I had contracts from those labels within 24 hours, and artwork within 48 hours, which is impressive.
Nice. That is very
really
impressive.
good. It's really refreshing. It's like, You know,
They've
you
got
just
some
crack
AI
on.
running in the background. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's cool. Do you have any advice for other singers who might be listening to this episode who want to, I guess, get into house music, or maybe, grow more in the house music space?
Get to know house music. That's what you've got to do. You've got to do your homework. You've got to know you've got to know it. I mean, for me, that's really important, and that's another reason why I love it so much, because I've been listening to it for so long that it's really part of me. It's a very spiritual thing, isn't it, house music? And it doesn't get everybody, and it doesn't get at every singer either. So, yeah, I would just say, get to know the music and get to know the producers, look at their work and what they've done, see where you fit and what kind of genres that you'd like to do. But don't pigeonhole yourself either, really push yourself. And, I do so many different types of house music, and it keeps it fresh as well. I love deep house music. I love soul. I love soulful. I love Afro house. And I just love classic house music as well, like a bit of techno, just I think it's about the music, whatever resonates with you, whatever you connect with. I think that's really important as a vocalist. Don't ever do anything that is not speaking to you. I've had tracks from some big artists actually that people are like, oh my God, you should be, this is great. They've sent you this track, and I listen to it and I'm just like, oh, it's not speaking to me. So I just go with the tracks that really that speak to me, and that I can do the very best that I can do, and work 100% with those tracks. Because you've got to love your own music as well. You've got to be a fan of your own music. And I'm such a, critical kind of with my own music. I've always been like that. I'm a perfectionist, but there's nothing better than a feeling your own music where you're like, this is absolutely awesome. I love it,
Yeah.
So love your own music and trust in yourself, believe in yourself, just that's what I would say.
So do you feel like any professional training is important? I mean, do you have any professional training yourself, or is it mostly just school of hard knocks and just trying things out and whatnot?
Well, I'm part of my job, as well as a dance teacher. I'm a vocal coach as well.
Oh, okay.
So I teach singing, and so I think it's practically every other day that I am doing vocal technique classes with children from, actually my youngest student is 4, and I'm teaching 18-year-olds as well, so it's 4 all the way through. And so I'm, as well as training them, I'm still training myself every other day. And I think you have to do that as a singer. You have to work on vocal technique. It's vital, especially when you're in a studio. You need to know how the mics work. You need to know how the equipment works. You need to know how far you can stand from a microphone. All these things that are just little add-ons, really, little bonuses that help you perfect the right kind of stems that you want, and vocals that you want. Yeah.
Do you feel like having any sort of music theory is helpful as well? Music theory knowledge?
I think why not? Yeah, definitely. I think if you are willing to learn, you want that information, just go and get it, because it will all help. Every little bit of information that's to do with music, I think it's really important. Yeah, definitely.
Cool.
What do you feel about that?
So I'm kind of two minds about it, because I love being really expressive, and I totally understand the desire to experiment, and sometimes because I have a little bit of music theory knowledge. I was in jazz band in high school and in junior high. I took piano lessons for a little bit, and sometimes I feel like the music theory might limit my creativity, but then there's other times where maybe because I feel like I have to fit, like my song has to fit within a certain box or whatever. But then there's also times where I really, where the theory kind of helps me open up to different ideas and whatnot. So it's, I don't know. I don't have like a standard response. I mean, like a definitive response to that. It's just like sometimes I get into like into the weeds of like, just, is this good theory or whatnot? But then and then other times I'm like, yeah, it doesn't have to sound good right now. I mean, you could have a little bit of dissonance, and then it can resolve, and things like that. So yeah.
It's funny actually. Yeah, it's like there's been a couple of times when I've been into the studio recently, and I've sang the song through, and I've gone, right, okay, can I do it again? And my studio partner will go, no, that's it, you're done. And I'm like, oh, but yeah. I need to. Can I just maybe go over it again or something? He's like, no, there's no need to.
Yeah.
Like, why? It's like, because it's raw and it's done, and it's those little bits that that you did with your voice. Then they can't be recreated, or they could. But the way you sang it, you wouldn't sing it like that again, and that's what makes that that vocal so special. So it's just it's having the mindset to realize that that's okay, that it doesn't have to be perfect. But because sometimes the imperfections are actually what make the track.
That's so true. Because I was watching Robin S. She kind of was telling the story of "Show Me Love," and she went into the studio and she had like a sore throat that day, and she, that delivery that she delivered on, or her final delivery was, classic, and we all know that sound, and like you can kind of hear it a little bit of that little raspiness in her voice, and it's endearing to everybody, and we all, it's something that is. She probably may not be able to repeat that again if she was to go in with a different, different set of circumstances. So totally. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah. So who are some of your influences?
Ooh,
I know this is a hard question, because if somebody were to ask me that, I'm like, okay, there's probably 300.
I think, is it 1997, Lauryn Hill, Education. Yeah. Yeah, that was a mind-blowing album that just really resonated with me. Her vocal just blew my mind completely. And then I started listening to Erykah Badu actually as well. My younger years, I absolutely love her. Massive Erykah Badu fan. And I think, Kathy Brown, CeCe Peniston. There's some fantastic vocalists out there at the moment. Vanessa Jackson, Rona Ray. Just trying to think now. Anaya Day. Gosh, there's so many, isn't there? But and it's quality vocals, and completely. They're all lyricists. They all write their own music, and they all just say it how it is. And I've got massive respect for that. I think it's so important to support your fellow vocalists and women, because it's a very heavy male-dominated industry that we're in. It
is.
But I've never experienced anything bad at all, really. I've been very lucky to, so far, so good. Yeah.
Why do you think, it's hard to know, but like, why do you think it is so male dominated? And why do you I feel like, we've had like, there's been like a little bit of a shift in, the conversation that's happening. We want to change the lineup and things like that, but I'm still not seeing like, as many women like producing as, I don't know, as there are men. And I don't know, I just wonder why that might be.
Yeah, I don't know. I wish I knew that one actually. It's I'm not sure. What do you think about it?
I don't know. I don't.
It's a tricky one, isn't it?
Yeah, I don't know if it's just because of like there's just been this perceived like because barrier. I don't know, maybe, but I mean, I'm not. I think that is changing, but I'd still like to see more women producing and make releasing records. I mean, if you look at the top 500 track source artists, that year-end list that they come up with every year, and
Yeah.
I don't think it's because track source is like being biased at all. It's just that the pool that they're choosing from is like just so many males and everything, and so it's and nearly all the females that are on there are vocalists. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know why
Yeah.
there aren't
It's
more
like,
women producers.
I think, do you know Suki Soul? Do you know her work? She's a brilliant singer. She's from the UK. She was just, I think she was just a vocalist for a long time, but she's just started producing her own music. And she's
nice.
really good. And she's starting to get noticed within her production skills. So it
Very
is
cool.
coming through, but it's like you say, it's not as not as much as it could be, and as I would like to see.
Yeah. So I've had a few ladies on the podcast: Paris Civette, Risa Garcia, Stephanie Gadsden. So, and they're all producing their own music. So hopefully, hopefully things will start to change, and more women will feel comfortable in our space and in our world here. And yeah, hopefully that'll, like I said,
more likes of these podcasts. I think these podcasts are really good for encouraging as well, So
I hope so, yeah.
Yeah, 100%.
I've got 2 daughters, and I certainly hope that they can feel that they can do whatever they want to do, So I have a son too, but yeah. So I want of course, I want all my kids to feel like they can do whatever they want to do, but yeah. I sometimes I think about, my girls and the world that they're going to be living in and whatnot, and maybe that's a little bit biased to think that it might be different for them. I don't know, but just what I see, I hope that they have every bit of opportunity that that others do. So
yeah. That's right. Exactly.
Is there any central philosophy about music and house music that you would like listeners to that you'd like to impart to listeners?
I think, like I was saying before, house music really is a spiritual thing. It's it really is a way to express whatever you want, and you can say whatever you want. And it's the underground thing. It's so unique to what is out there, really, in terms of the commercial kind of music. And the fact that the tracks are so much longer as well, you can they take you on a journey, don't they? You can tell you a story within 7 minutes, and you still don't want the track to end. Like, oh no, I need another 3 more minutes at least of that. That's what I love about it. I absolutely love that about it, rather than something that is just trying to cram everything in within 2 or 3 minutes, and before you know it, it's done. For me, it's, you can really let the music breathe, and it can tell a story. You can listen to all the intricate parts of the music, and there's lots of breath, like space, where it's the music and then it's the vocal, and then it's the music and then a little bit more vocal. And that's what I love about house music. It's the spiritual thing.
For sure, yeah. And it's and I love how, like, I don't know, when you meet people who also like house music, that they get it, and that there's something common in between you, because you kind of have to be open to it. Like, I mean, with pop music, it's all like kind of force fed to us and everything, and I don't think it requires a ton of open-mindedness to necessarily. I mean, I'm not saying that it's bad music. I mean, there's a lot of really good pop music out there, but I feel like with the underground, this house music, it's you have to be open. You have to have your whole spirit and has to be open to receiving something that's a little bit more underground. So it says a lot about the person who is is open to that their mind is open, their spirit is open as well. So yeah.
And there's nothing better than seeing a sea of people who just look totally free and they're just lost in the music.
Totally.
It's I can't really describe it. It's just great, isn't it?
Absolutely.
It's great. Yeah. And that's why I love live as well. I love it. I love to sort of be, I'm a performer, so I love to I'm entertaining, but just to see their faces when, you've got your DJ behind you, you've got your microphone and you start singing and everyone goes, oh my God, there's you're connecting with them. And that's really important. People need that support and connectivity these days, I think, more than ever, really, in society.
For sure.
So much stress, isn't there, in people's lives and various different aspects of things that go on, but people seem to leave those worries and troubles at the door when they go down into the club or whatever, and then they listen to this music that just helps them switch off and tune in, and open their minds to different sounds that move you, really make you want to dance and make you go like this.
Totally. That's right.
So yeah.
Set yourself free, release yourself. Yeah. All that.
Yeah.
Cool beans. All right. Well, so you talked about your EP. Are there any other projects that you have that you're working on or that are upcoming that you want to talk about and kind of, I guess, I don't want to say the P word, promote or, just talk about and
yeah.
Get out there. I don't know when this episode will be released. We're recording it in March, late March. It's almost April. And I think the episode will probably be sometime in May, late May.
Okay.
Yeah. When,
I have a release coming out. I think it's Track Source exclusive on the 17th. That's with Reeves, who is based in Milan. And that is going to be on Over the Top record label, which is Scott Witchelow. He's based in Surrey in the UK. And his label's absolutely fantastic. So we are thrilled to be on that, and we're both really looking forward to this release. It's a really special track. It's called Without You. It's special because we talked about writing, where do I get my inspiration from, etc. earlier on. But this track I wrote it because of something that was happening in Daniel's life, Reeves. So it's a really special track for us. And so we're like I say, we can't wait for that to come out. But it's a real house banger. It's just absolutely on point. So I'll have to send you it. I'll send you it, Tony.
Great.
So that is due. Yeah, no problem. So that's due out. 17th of May. But we're hoping for a date soon for a track that me and Sensi and Josh have done again, Jameis, and I cannot wait for that to drop. That has a Co-Flow remix attached to it as well, which is just absolutely, it's just mind-blowingly good. They both are. It's a fantastic package. So that is really interesting and something that I can't wait for the world to hear. I just finished a track with Carl Lawton, another one. Again, he's based in the UK. He's in Newcastle. I think today it's one of the craziest tracks I've ever done, to be honest. It's not my usual sort of floaty. It's it's quite hot. It's a good track. Nice. And he's done a deep house version as well, which should complement it. So we're gonna be sending that out as an EP. They're at some very lucky label.
Nice.
Yeah.
Very cool. All right. Well, sounds like you've got a lot of projects, and I'm sure that will all continue. And I'm excited for all of your music that's coming out, and I'm very impressed with all that you've already done the last several years. And where's the best place for people to find out more about Becka Ward?
I think,
and to connect with you.
Well, connect with me. I mean, obviously I'm on Facebook and Instagram. You can get all my back catalogue from Tracksource or Beatport, the usual sites, but I'm on Spotify, Apple Music, all the main streaming sites. But if anybody wanted to contact me, then feel free. If it's information about being a vocalist, or you maybe want some vocal lessons, I'd also do that via Zoom if anybody's interested.
Sure.
They want to brush up on some techniques, then let me know.
Okay, cool.
Yeah.
So that kind of like sparked another question for me. So when people reach out to you saying, hey, would you sing on my track, is there a certain set of like kind of not necessarily like a checklist of things, but like, is there certain things that you're looking for that make you like, say heck yes or heck no, with
when I get sent music over,
or when people want to work with you, they say, hey, do you want to collab?
Yeah, I mean, the main thing is they have to expect that it can't be immediate. I can't, because there's people that are waiting ahead of those people. I've got about 6 or 7 tracks to do and an EP before I can take on any more productions, really. So I'm looking at August, September, I think, before I'm ready to start working. I can take anybody else on, but usually it would be down to that, just because of the schedule, and you have to make sure that my studio partner's free and the rest of it. And also, I don't like to rush any tracks either. I don't think there's any point in doing that at all. I think it's really important for me to get familiar with the track and just to have, full attention on that one particular track. That's how I like to do it, really. And so, and it doesn't necessarily have to be like a mastered track or anything like that. As long as I can get a decent idea of what the track's all about, that usually helps.
Okay, cool. Thanks for the info. All right. Well, before we wrap up, is there anything else that you want to say to listeners?
Well, just thank you. This is one of the first podcasts I've ever done, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't usually do a lot of this kind of thing, and it's not because I don't want to. I think it's just that I've never felt that I was at that level, really, where I could start to really give people information about my experiences like I do now, which is a really good position to be in. Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for being here. And it's interesting that you say that you before now you hadn't really felt, or before around this time that you hadn't really felt that you had enough to share. But we all have a story. We all have like a background, and I'm so glad that you're sharing it here. So I appreciate that.
Thank you.
Yeah. And I'm excited for listeners to get to know more about Becka and Becka Ward and what she's up to. What's up? Yeah.
Yeah, that's great. Thank you. I really appreciate it.
Absolutely. Well, thanks for being on the show. And I wish you the best with your songs, and I'm sure we'll be in touch.
Brilliant. Thank you so much, Tony. Take care. Right. Happy Easter as well. Have a great Easter.
Oh, yeah, you too. Hey, friend, I hope you enjoyed this conversation. As producers today, it can be really overwhelming to keep up with all the tasks that we need to complete. So I've created a free toolkit that can help you. I call it my release roadmap. This tool helps you to gain clarity on all of your tasks related to music production, demos, releases, and social media so that you can spend more mental energy on making music. Learn more about this free roadmap by visiting tonyfuel.com/roadmap or click the link in the description below. Again, that link is tonyfuel.com/roadmap. Take care, and I'll talk to you soon.